Now you're welcome back to this evening's edition of The Final Whistle here on Ocean FM. Slightly later than usual this week, but we will have live coverage of Sligo Rovers coming up from 7:45. But before that, we're turning our attention to golf, and delighted to say our resident golf doctor and golf expert on Ocean FM from Castle Dargan, Xavier Medas, once again joins us in studio. And Xavier, once again, thank you for coming in.
Hello, Darren.
Okay, we're going to get straight down to it. It is the time of year, I suppose, that the evenings very much getting shorter, and the weather probably getting that little bit more unfavourable, of course, for golf. But that doesn't mean that golf comes to a close for the winter. There is still plenty of opportunities for golfers to improve on their game and work on the game over the winter.
Yeah, certainly. It's a great time to go and experiment and not being so concerned about what you're really worth. I suppose people's expectations in the winter, because of the lack of competitions, are a bit lower, and it's a good time, like I said, to go and try new things and maybe make changes to the game, and and look forward to do a bit of work outside the golf course.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose, and I was just reading in the Castle Dargan notes this week that work has started on the driving range at the club too. So all that sort of stuff is going to help. I suppose people kind of work on their game off the course over the winter.
Absolutely. Well, this driving range now, we had the first stage of the construction, so it won't be till spring till we're fully open.
Yeah. But there is driving ranges around the county.
I'll be doing a bit of work at the Sligo Golf Academy over the winter months from the Wednesday the 12th of November. I'll be doing a 6-week course for different age and abilities. It's certainly a good place to go. Like, the evenings are short, so it's going to be soon dark after 5 o'clock. Yeah. So there's little you can do about accessing the golf course, and you're confined to weekend golf. I find going to a class or doing a bit of practice in a range over the week in the winter months is keeping you in touch with the game. It allows you to have a bit of momentum and, like I said, do a bit of work in the background and sort of see what's coming out of it.
Just out of interest, what the classes that you'll be running at the Golf Academy, what will they entail?
Well, because of the fact that it's in a range, all the class is going to be on long game mainly. So regardless of what club we'll be using, most people will be interested in long shots. It's going to be on full swing mainly. It's going to be some fixes of people's problems. But I also would have quite often beginners, people with less mileage on the golf course. So it'd be a mixture of things. But quite often people will come with the expectation of hitting the ball further or straighter or understanding a bit more about their game. Other people will come to the sessions just because they often practice and they want a bit of variety into what they're doing, help their understanding and just hit the ball better, I guess. Okay. I've got junior beginners and junior advanced, and I've got also adults. The adults usually is a bit more of a mixed bag because of different ability and experience. The junior beginners is usually a lot about setting up good fundamentals, keeping the game a bit fun. The class is usually quite popular and it's quite a casual and relaxed environment. The junior advanced that I have be like an under 18 class, and now these guys would have high expectations in terms of scoring and coming good, and even though some of them are only teenagers, time is precious and they know that, so they put pressure on me to make the game good all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you been doing these classes for a few years now?
Yes, I've been doing evening classes, I'd say, since 2007, since I moved to Castle Dargan, so between a place to another. But I've been doing a bit of work at the Golf Academy in recent years.
Are you full for this year, or is there still some room available?
Well, I haven't really advertised it, so whoever gets the message now this evening can feel free to find me.
Come first.
I was afraid I'm restricted to 12 people per classes, so because of the amount of bays I have. So first come, first served, yes.
Okay. Now, just speaking about winter golf, winter leagues are hugely popular around the northwest. There's good leagues taking place in clubs right around the county, including a good one in Castle Dargan, incidentally, where they welcome members and non-members to play in it. Winter league golf, it's a different type of golf. It's usually a restricted number of holes, maybe 9-11 holes of that. I suppose it offers a different challenge, doesn't it?
Well, the reason mainly it says on a shorter course is because of the amount of hours you have of daylight. So if you have a field of 50, 60 people, nobody could start and finish the round, playing one after the other. So that's why usually it's on a shorter course. Plus, in the winter time, the weather could be very cold and wet, and you don't want to commit to a full 4-hour, 5-hour round. That's that could be a poor experience. So just to keep it a bit more enjoyable and social, they keep it short.
I think people like that. I think they like the different challenge, I suppose, in playing the shortened holes, and obviously playing with different partners and different teammates. A little bit different to summer golf.
Yes, well, it's like, once again, I guess for most people, it's a way of keeping your hand in the game without the pressure of having to do well. The weather is going to be your excuse. The golf course are set up differently. You're not expecting as much as yourself, so it's good fun. And I think the social aspect, the club life that is behind it is most attractive for most.
Yeah. Okay. Now we've talked about what you can do maybe to improve your game over the winter. What about fitness over winter? How important is it for golfers to maintain a level of fitness? I suppose that maybe they mightn't have as much. Obviously, they won't have as much access to a golf course. What do they? How important is it for them to maintain a level of fitness?
Well, that's a good question. Well, first of all, like, the golf is not always perceived as being a sport in terms of physical ability, and you see older people or different physical ability to playing golf, and you're thinking, when you see
all shapes and sizes,
all shapes, not to say anything else. If you see that from an outside, and as an outsider, you think, well, you don't need to be fit for golf. Up until you take it up yourself and you realize that you can't play golf if you have a sore toe, or if you have a sore finger, or if you have a sore tooth, or if you're a bit stiff with your back because you've been gardening the day before. So you need to be very fit in terms of, you have to have mobility, and you also need to be able to be on your feet for maybe 5-6 hours and walking. A game of golf is quite long, so you do need to require some fitness. Obviously, the guys you would see on tour would spend a lot of time in gyms, obviously because they have the time, but they're more interested in longevity, flexibility, agility, and obviously a bit of power to generate a bit of distance. For the rest of us, general fitness is good. Like, some people use golf as a fitness. I have an older gentleman in the shop every day who comes in play, and he's not taking a bogey. He has to walk. He has to do his 8, 12, sometimes 18 holes if the weather is kind. But golf is secondary. Like, fitness is the reason he's playing golf at that stage. Obviously, like, he would need golf as an excuse to basically go outside and do a little bit. Other people would need a bit of fitness just to play better golf. But obviously, like, you're addressing now more competitive players would need that little 1% that's going to make a big difference to their game.
Yeah, but as well as the obviously the physical fitness required, if you're physically tired, you're going to be mentally tired too, aren't you? I mean, your overall fitness, because there's a huge amount of the mental side of the game comes into playing golf as well. So I imagine they go hand in hand.
Yes, they would. Certainly, like, if you're not overly fit and you struggle to complete 18 holes. Well, your head's going to go first. You're going to make a mistake of judgment. You're going to go to a shot with not being focused, or you're going to forget something. You're going to miss out on the yardage or the wind, and obviously that's going to affect your scoring, and it could be detrimental to your technique to a point. It's interesting you say that in a way that quite often it's the other way around. Is people are mentally drained, and it affects their body performance then. I was giving a golf lesson to 2 ladies earlier on today, and you could see they were really focused. They were trying really hard all the time, and they didn't have the great ability, because they were quite new to the game. They didn't have the ability to switch off after shots. So the time they spent walking to the next ball, they were still concerned and trying hard and thinking, how are they going to do this better, or what was wrong for them. And before they knew, we spent a couple of hours on the golf course. Before they knew, they hadn't had a moment for themselves to relax and chat about work or family or anything. And you could see towards the end they reached their height maybe after 5 holes, and they started to make mistakes, and started to gain a bit of frustration, because the harder they were trying, the more demanding the game was becoming.
I can see how that would be draining.
Yeah, like for somebody not playing that often, it's very, very tiring, because you don't let go. You're always trying to control things, and the level of concentration to hit a golf ball is quite intense. It's a lot more demanding than driving a car or reading a book. So you need to be able to give yourself a break and be your own referee in terms of concentration. So that's you know this if you go and play golf. If you haven't had the time to relax and use that properly, you know well when you finish and you sit down, you're drained, you're happy to sit down, even though you've only been on your feet for maybe 3 or 4 hours, which is not very demanding. If you feel wrecked after a game of golf, it means that your concentration was challenged.
Well, once again, proven that it goes hand in hand, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any? Is there any kind of tips you can offer people in terms of syncing them up in terms of physical fitness and mental fitness?
Well, both are very separate. Like like if you're just generally fit overall and you have good mobility to turn and you're I don't think golf is that demanding. Obviously, the fitter you are, the more you can perform, but you don't have to be already fit to be successful. And people play within themselves in that respect. Like a jogger some of them would go faster than others, and it's not because you jog slowly that you're good at it. The mental side, I think, is worth trying to appreciate because it's sometimes hard to work on it, or it's hard to be aware of it when you're on a golf course because you mean so well. It's hard to sometimes learn to switch off and do something else. So if you're going to practice this winter and you go into the range and you buy a bucket of balls and you're going to go and hit them, I would strongly recommend that you take one shot at a time, like you're going to be asked to do on a golf course. Therefore, like if you place a ball on the tee or on the mat, the first thing you should do is step away from the mat, go behind the ball, and then start all over again, pretending you're on the golf course. When that ball is gone and you place another one, you need to go again once off the mat. Like if I was teaching a scratch golfer or a very advanced golfer, if I place a ball down, the first thing they do is walk away from me, walk behind the ball and ask me, what are we going to do with this one? Or what do you want me to do with this one? Or like they go away because they go away to go into a thinking zone where you're allowed to sort of like have the process of deciding how you're going to prepare yourself and gain a bit of readiness before you access the playing zone, which is in front of the ball where you strike. And there should be little happening in the playing zone. If you're trying to mix your intellect with your playful side into the play zone, it won't work. It's like taking a penalty in football, and as you're running at the ball, you start to think about what sort of the foot you're going to hit the ball with. You'd be less successful to do that. It'd be a bit random, and I don't think that's something you would try to do. Yeah.
So it's quality over quantity, rather than going out and hitting 40, 50 balls one after the other to hit 20 balls and make them count.
Yeah, possibly, or even go and hit your 50 balls one after the other and keep 5 or 6 of them at the end to do this, or do the other way around. But the main thing, if you go into the range or if you go and practice, bearing in mind, what is the game asking me to do? How many goals do I have from the same spot with the same golf club in a real game of golf? And the answer is never, unless you've lost your ball and you have to reload and play the same shot. So because the game is asking you because the game is random, your practice should be in a way random. Unless you're working on a certain move, you're working on a certain thing that you need repetition on. You should always bear in mind, if you're practicing, that your practice has to be as realistic as possible in terms of what the game is going to be asking you to do next time you're on the golf course. Okay,
we know it's a quiet time of year for the golf course. Does it get quieter for you, Xavier, or is this quite a busy time for you in the off months?
Well, it's going to be quieter with the day-to-day golfer, or the guy who plays his golf at the weekend, or he's going to go on holidays and he's under pressure to hold his own on a golf course. So this type of golfer is sort of like the seasonal is going away from me at the moment. But I'm involved again this year with a Connacht coaching with the Golfing Union of Ireland and the Irish Ladies Golf Union. So that's going to keep me busy. I've got weekends already lined up. This year I've been involved with the under 14, under 16, 80 categories. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
That's actually busier because there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of administration behind it. So the delivery is good.
Where is that mainly based out of?
That's in Ballinrobe. Like the centre of excellence for Connacht is in Ballinrobe. Okay. Yeah, and the girls is in Castlehagen.
Okay, excellent stuff. So you have a busy few months ahead yet, but
yes.
Okay, we'll hope to get you back in maybe next month for another quick chat, Xavier.
Yes.
And but for the minute, many thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks, Sarah.